Okay, so you're looking for a dog trainer here in the Medford area. It can feel like a lot to sort through, right? Well, this is a straightforward guide to help you find the right person for you and your dog, so you can really get out there and enjoy our community together. I mean, that's the whole goal, isn't it? Having a dog that makes a walk through City Park actually calm or a hike on the Pine Line Trail genuinely relaxing, it's all about building that confidence for both of you in all the places you already love to go. So here's what we're going to go over. First, why training locally really makes a difference. Then, what you should actually look for in a trainer. We'll talk about the different types of training available, some key questions you'll want to ask, and then we'll wrap up with some great spots around Medford to practice everything you've learned. All right. First things first, why does it even matter to train locally? Well, the whole point isn't to have a dog that's perfect only inside a training facility. You want a dog who's great in your own neighborhood, on your everyday walks. You know, think about your actual life here. You want to be able to walk down the street without your arm being yanked. You want friends to come over without getting mobbed at the door. And you definitely want your dog to come back when you call them. Those are the real life skills that make a trip to the park or a hike on the Pine Line Trail fun. And that's exactly what good local training focuses on. Okay, so what should you be looking for in a trainer? It really boils down to two things: their methods, how they train, and their credentials. This is what helps you tell the difference between a good trainer and a really great one. The first thing you'll want to look for is a foundation in positive reinforcement. You've probably heard of it. It's reward-based training. It's just a fantastic way to build a strong bond with your dog, and honestly, it works. It makes learning a positive thing for them, which means those skills are much more likely to stick around, even when there are distractions. All right, you're going to see a bunch of letters after some trainers' names, and it can look a little like alphabet soup. Let's break it down. If you see CPDDK-A, that means the trainer has actually passed a pretty comprehensive exam on dog behavior and learning theory. Think of it as a solid certification for general dog training. Another one you might see is KPA-CTP. This one means the trainer went through a pretty rigorous program that's all about positive reinforcement and the science behind it. It's a good sign that they're really dedicated to using modern, effective methods. Now, if you're dealing with something a little more complex, like a lot of fear or reactivity, this is the one to look for: IABC-CBC. This isn't just about basic obedience. It signals a much deeper level of expertise in animal behavior. So let's say you've found a trainer whose philosophy you like. The next piece of the puzzle is the format. Are you going to go for private lessons, or would a group class be better? Let's figure out what makes the most sense for you. Yeah, it usually comes down to this: private lessons versus group classes. Private lessons are amazing for those problems that happen specifically at your house, like going nuts when the doorbell rings. Group classes, though, are a really good way to work on paying attention when other dogs and people are around, and they're usually a bit easier on the wallet. You'll also run into options like day training or board and train programs. Now, these can definitely speed things up if you're short on time. But the number one question you have to ask is, how are you going to transfer those skills back to me? Because really, the training is only useful if you can keep it going at home. So that's really the question for you to think about. What's your top priority right now? Is it fixing a specific problem at home? Or is it getting your dog to behave better around distractions? Your answer there is going to point you in the right direction. Okay, once you have an idea of the format you want, it's time to actually start talking to trainers. And to make sure you feel really good about your decision, there are a few specific questions you'll want to have ready. First, let's talk about the practical side of things: cost. Here's a look at what you can generally expect to pay for different kinds of training right here in the Medford and Taylor County area. Just having these ballpark figures can help you plan your budget and figure out what you're getting for your money. So when you're on the phone or emailing with a potential trainer, think of this as your checklist. You'll definitely want to confirm their methods and credentials, but it's also about asking, how are you going to tailor this for my dog and my life? Getting clear answers on how you'll track progress and what the final cost is, well, that just prevents any surprises down the road. All right, let's wrap this up by bringing it all back to real life. The training doesn't just stop when the lesson is over. The real progress happens when you practice. So where are some good spots around Medford to work on these new skills? Honestly, your own neighborhood is the number one spot to start. But if you want a change of pace, the Pine Line Trail is perfect for practicing walking politely past other people and dogs. Medford City Park is great for working on things like stay. Maybe just find a quiet corner away from the playgrounds. And if you really want to test that recall, taking a trip to a dog park in Wausau or Marshfield when it's not too busy can be a fantastic real-world test.
Because really, a well-trained dog makes everything in your life just a little bit easier. It's the difference between having friends over and not having to worry, or truly being able to enjoy a hike together. Wishing you and your dog the absolute best as you start this training journey.